afternoon and welcome to yet another special Island Stat Sports Talk. I'm joined with Terence Dill. Everyone around the basketball arena in Bermuda would know Terence in his days of in Bermuda, dunking on guys and just doing the business. But right now, Terence, you're a member of the Houston Red Storm. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in the American Basketball League. How has that transition been over the years? Because I know it's been a few years since you've been with this particular team. So how has that transition been for you, getting to know these guys and getting familiar with the style of play?
Honestly, it's been a roller coaster ride, even starting out from the beginning, because the style of basketball play over here is very much different from back home. Here, it's more, and I hate to throw it out there, but glitz and glamour and, going to the lane, 3-point shots, dunking. Back home, it's more physical. It's more basketball. It's more fundamentals back home. So I've been able to thrive because of that fact that I've learned so many of my fundamentals back home.
Now, of course, the league starting this year has been affected by COVID, but for you, it actually gives you that little more extra time to prepare yourself because the fact that you have been out injured with the Achilles. But how are you feeling physically?
Honestly, physically, I'm 100%. Mentally, I'll be honest, I'm about 90% because it's always that fear of it happening again. And just that, anything that happens to my body, I'm nervous because I'm like, oh no, it's about to go down again. So I'm gonna be able to shake it, shot of guzzlings, and I'll be all right.
The fact that you have had the opportunity to be able to get in some training, get in some preseason stuff. How does the team look shaping up for the upcoming season?
This team compared to last season is looking great. We're looking to make a championship run this year. So I actually got the opportunity to coach the last season's team while I was injured. So they, honored me that way by still allowing me to be a part of the program. But this season, and that's no disrespect to the guys from last year, but this season we added some pieces. Of course, I'm coming back stronger, different. I brought along a guy that's going to come up from my old team, the Nighthawks, where I used to play. So we're about to make a championship run.
Yeah. Now, what style do you guys play? Are you guys a run and shoot team? Are you a kind of build up, set up team to complete your plays? Or because the game is different, and each team, the way they set themselves up is different. So how do you guys set yourself up?
We're running gun, but we do have a lot of pieces for half court setups. But we're more run and gun, high pace, above the rim. So we do have shooters, but we're more above the rim. We're going at guys. We're trying to make a statement. So
now, what's the difference, other than the big arenas when COVID wasn't around with crowds, between the NBA and the ABA? What's the difference?
The difference, honestly, is financial. NBA is backed by billions and billions of dollars. The ABA, these are teams that some of these guys actually came from the NBA or from the same colleges as these players came from, but they just didn't have that kind of financial backing that a lot of these other people have. They have programs out there like the AAU program where they start scouting kids from a young age. So it's no difference in gameplay. It's just the arena or the fans or the backing behind it. But we can go up against any of those teams at any time.
Yeah. When you look at how you as a person have developed through this sport, how would you evaluate yourself?
Honestly, the sport helped me grow as on a personal level because there were things that I had to face on the court as well as off the court, the adversities of life. And being a leader, I've been a captain of each one of the teams I've played on. So it's helped me in my household as well because, what I'm doing on the court when I'm guiding these men, I've been able to transcend that into my household when it comes to my kids. So, and vice versa. So
Yeah. When you compare what you've learned locally
Mhm.
through coaches growing up and all that, it the message about the sport doesn't change much, even in the professional element, does it?
Honestly, I still preach the same thing that my coach, Coach Ricky Watts, that he told us while we stepped on the court. He don't care if it's Jesus and some sneakers. That is your enemy for that time period until that buzzer goes off. So I'm the same way. They could be my best friend on the opposite end, but guess what? When that buzzer goes, I don't know you. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, take us through your journey in the professional world of basketball. You've been to other clubs. You've been
mhm.
successful. You've had your injury challenges, but take us through your journey.
Starting off, I started off in Buffalo. That's where they picked me up from back, over there. Um, that was the toughest because when I started the season, it was in the middle of winter, and of course, Bermudians were not used to no snow, no 6 feet of snow and stuff like that. So I'm walking to the arena in some canvas shoes and a windbreaker jacket, and that was the worst feeling ever when I got there. But so I didn't play that game because I was obviously frostbitten. But I was able to adjust to that style of play because actually East Coast versus where I'm now in Houston, the South, that's two different styles of play as well. um, East Coast, they're more, I would say, compared to Bermudian basketball, they're more physical, lock up defense. Down here, it's more spaced out, 3-point shooting, high flying dunks. This is actually where I excelled the most because of my style of play. I mean, I play defense greatly, but of course, I live above the rim too, and I can shoot. So I was able to excel, me being 6'8", and most guys that I come up against 6'8", 230, but I can move. A lot of guys I come up against were football players, so they're 250, 260. They can't keep up with my speed because remember, I used to be a track star as well.
Mhm.
So all these things helped as I grew through the league. I just started using different pieces from different teams and seemed to excel the most here.
Yeah. And after Buffalo, where did you go?
Buffalo, I went to Alabama. Then after Alabama, I came to Baytown. After Baytown, which is still kind of Houston. After Baytown, I went to Killeen. That's where I was down there for about 3 years, and then I moved back to Houston. So
Mm. Do you see yourself staying involved? I know you said earlier you had the opportunity to coach last year through your injury. Do you see
uh
yourself staying involved and getting the necessary paperwork needed to be a coach at that level?
yes, yeah. Right now, I'm also got my as you see on the a plug,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I have my
yeah.
own training program as well. So that's something that I'm looking into as well. My kids are here, so I would love to be able to coach them. That's another reason I also chose Houston is because my kids actually said I've never had a chance to see my dad play live. So that's one reason the main reason I decided to stay in Houston. But I would love to get the opportunity to coach both of my sons and help them excel as far as they can.
Right. What does an ABA 2021 season look like? Because again, they're starting a little later,
Mhm.
but obviously they still want to get the major impact of the season in. So, what does the 2021 season look like for you guys right now?
It's going to be the same. They're just going to extend it further into the summer. So a lot of things, just like the NBA, they're going to extend it a little further. We're doing the exact same thing. So we're still going to get the amount of games required. Now that's the difference between the ABA and NBA. The ABA, you just have a minimum amount of games required to qualify for playoffs. So it could be 16 games, or you could play 122 games if you wanted to. But we're still going to be able to get our full run out.
Yeah. Now, of course, what a lot of people don't realize is that the ABA players are also looked at when it comes to the USA picking their Olympic team because these guys are just on the verge of knocking on the door to make NBA teams. So
Mhm.
with that on the horizon, do you think this ABA season will be that much more competitive? With that in the back of some guys' minds, thinking that there's a possibility that they can make that team.
Yes, yes, that's very possible because a lot of injuries are happening now because of COVID, because guys were sitting out, not staying active. So a lot of the NBA players or even the NFL players, they're getting injured very quickly. So that opens up a lot of doors for us. And people to observe us, well, them for the U.S., but me for obviously Great Britain. But it opens up a lot of doors for them. So, but a lot of guys are going even harder and putting more tape out, putting more film out. We're seeing some ridiculous numbers in some of these preseason rec games where guys are putting up 50, 60, 70 points. So just because they're trying to, I just think they're getting something off their chest as well.
Right. The fact that your team played just this past weekend, and you got an opportunity to watch some of the guys in action yet again, because you guys played early in November. But
Mhm.
when you see these guys, are you impressed with what they're able to do with the ball, without the ball, as a unit?
I'm very impressed. I mean, this has been the first time I've had the opportunity to honestly, I guess, take the, I don't want to say it this way, but I mean humble, but on modest, but the superstar role where I don't have to play preseason. So I've been able to, where I can give my veteran experience and my veteran knowledge as to what we can do. But a lot of these guys are on the money. A lot of these guys are 22, 23, 24, and they're not uh, egotistical or have their own agenda. They want this championship, so they're willing to listen to some of the advice I have with knowledge of everything, everywhere I've been. So,
How many more preseason games have you guys arranged prior to the start of the season?
three,
Three more.
three.
And when do you plan to kick in the game? I know you're one of those that is always trying to keep in shape, and so I know
Uh-huh.
they're not concerned about the workouts. It's the game, and with your experience, how much how much game time do you need in the preseason to be ready for the tip off when action really gets underway?
Well, I'm jumping in the next one. The next one was scheduled for this weekend, but it got postponed. We're going to find out tonight, actually, when it's going to be, due to one of their players testing positive for COVID. So, but I'm going to be in everything else from here on out. I just wanted to see what my guys came with so I can understand, like, okay, I can see the pieces. I see where I fit in. I see where I can help. So,
Yeah. What does a training day look like for you guys in preparation for an upcoming season?
a lot of work. A lot of work. I'll be honest. This season has been the hardest for all of us coming off of that COVID hiatus because a lot of guys are coming in 20, 30 pounds heavier. So including myself, I'm coming in 20 pounds heavier, which is okay for me because I want to gain weight anyway. But it's hard trying to maneuver or do things that you were used to doing, and then just working off that weight, then getting back into rhythm, then um, the medicine balls, the weights, the stretching, even stretching hurts. So, but it's a wonderful experience to see a bunch of grown men cry. So
The defending champions. How do you guys match up against them in all your strong areas?
we could have won last year. I'll be honest. We could have went all the way last year. It's just that we had a lot of guys getting injured. That's what it took us down. But this year, we're going for them. We're going for them because we talk trash to these champions every year. Them, the Austin Bats, the North Texas Prowlers are now talking smack to us. So we're always a threat to somebody.
Now, explain to us how this works, because you guys have to do a lot of traveling as well, don't you?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we saw the NBA play last year. In everything was in Florida, in Orlando. Now this year they're moving about. So are you guys going to be moving about just as freely, but staying within your confines?
We are moving about throughout the whole nation, depending on where games are scheduled. How we work it out is normally a lot of teams would like to stay in their region. So like Texas teams will play Texas teams, Chicago, Illinois teams will play Illinois teams and stuff like that. But and that's what's going to happen. But because things are now open back up, a lot of teams, a lot of high ranked teams are in other places, and you want to play those teams like Jacksonville Giants and stuff like that. So we will be traveling just as much.
Yeah, yeah. And how does that sit well with you? Are you one of those that want to play the higher teams, but have still got that COVID in the back of your mind kind of thing, or you just want to play?
I'm one of them people that listen. The competition's there. We're going for it. we're going for it. I take all the precautionary
measures.
what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, measures. That's what I was looking for to get there. I couldn't get the word out, but yeah,
Right.
I want to play these teams. Even if they got to come in, if we got to go there, I'm there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and of course, how many years do you think you have left on the court?
10. I've got 10 in me
Not 10.
mentally, but my body's gonna say about 5. I can say that my body's gonna say about 5. 5 professionally, but I know there's like here we have a lot of guys that are 62, 63 that can still go. And I honestly, before I got hurt, I used to run in the gyms with them. And those were some of the best games I've ever had because I'm looking at guys that, I'm thinking should be sitting down somewhere in a corner watching me, but they're being just as competitive as I am, putting up just as many shots as I am. I've lost games to them because mentally they're on another level. So I want to be able to get out there and still do that, even with my kids, because my kids will never be able to beat me. Just to throw that out when he sees this.
Growing up when you were growing up in sports in Bermuda, obviously you done a lot of track and field as well. But now we see the game moving to 3-on-3, especially Olympic style. The Caribbean Basketball Association is looking to do that. Do you think that suits Bermuda a lot better because of the sheer numbers that we have, and it will suit us to be more competitive?
I think so because, like you said, growing up, basketball really wasn't the number one sport there, and we didn't. It was hard to call 10 guys and say, "Hey, let's go down to Parsons Road and go get a game in." But we always had 6, or we had 8. So I think 3-on-3 is perfect and it suits the game. Keep 5-on-5, but because when they want to transcend over here, you got to add the 2 extras. But I think the 3-on-3 game is something that is very would benefit Bermuda, I think, a lot better. And then it would showcase a lot more talent at the same time because these guys would have the opportunity to play with other units on that team. They can alternate, they can get runs in better. So
yeah, just looking at it, because I've often said the same thing, that we suit our style, and just our sheer numbers conduce us to be, the shorter version of the game, and that 3-on-3 kind of suits us for the numbers sake. We always seem to have the talent, but it's always we have 2 good guys, and then we're picking up other guys to try and play, kind of thing. I mean, you went through it. There was, you played with guys like Sully and so forth, but the rest of the guys were local based guys, so trying to actually get everybody to come up, it was a struggle at times. So, what do you remember about those days of playing in the national team? You played island games as well and so forth, but what were those moments like for you?
Moments of playing with those guys, I'd always take in their competitiveness. People like John Lee, Jason Lowe, these guys, like, I watched and I idolized because they were always out there and always 100%, and they were yelling at me like they were my dad. You know what I mean? Like, hey, stay in the game. Stay in the game. Because remember, I played on the team with the Dragons with these guys too. So a lot of my game and my fire comes from them because they were always, no matter if he was down 20, he was stay in the game. So yeah, I loved it. I wish I can go back to them times, to be honest. Because a lot of guys out here that I play with in like a gym, if I just go to a pickup gym, it's nothing to them. But people like that over there, like even if we're down, like I said, Parsons Road, Shelly Bay, it ain't no cameras around, but these guys are still playing like it's a championship game. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm here.
Listen, when you said his name, Brother Lee, when you said his name, I could envision the guy, no matter if you guys are just warming up, and he's so intense. You would honestly
Sweating
believe
already.
every game was championship game. So when you said it, I was like, I remember that, like like it was happened yesterday, and day before yesterday. He's so intense. He's got the energy to just keep running and so forth. But that if we had 12 of him, we'd be all right.
You'd be all right. We'd be out here in the NBA all day.
Well, I do want to wish you all the best for the upcoming season. I'll stay in
I
contact
appreciate it.
with you
I appreciate it.
regarding your next preseason match, and of course the dates they show
I'll
on
get him.
the website for an early
Mhm.
start in February for the league. So we'll stay in touch with you, and all the best. Season's
I
greetings.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Season's greetings, man. Stay
It's good
safe.
catching up with you, brother. Take it easy,
No
right?
problem. All right,
All
you
right.
too.